Welcome, my friend. Seven Gray here. I hope you're all having a fabulous day, enjoying your time out there in YouTube land, watching lots of videos. Thank you so much for watching my video today. I'm going to talk about the Wave 6 heater that I purchased here recently. For those of you who haven't watched the past episode where I had a massive, crazy failure with my buddy heater, actually the connection point, I shouldn't blame the buddy heater, but where the hose connects to the buddy heater, it caught on fire, really scared me, and since then I've been really paranoid about heaters. So I purchased this Olympian Wave 6 heater as a result of not feeling comfortable with the heater that I had, the buddy heater and the flame, and inside of my step fan here. So I have this new heater, the Olympian Wave 6, which I love. So let me tell you the things that I like about the heater. This is the heater over here. There's a cover on it right now. Let me take that off. It has little elastic straps around the edges of the cover. You can see here the elastic stuff. It's important to keep this on the heater at all times when you're not using it, because the heater has a little mat inside of here that is extremely sensitive to dust. And that's probably the fastest way that you'll kill this heater and make it dysfunctional, is getting dust inside of this area here. So you want to keep it covered all the time. So that's a tip number one. Actually, that's one of the downsides of the heater, one of the cons, if you will, of the heater. So let me talk about some of the things I do like. Number one on the list is I like that it's a wall mount and that it's fairly small. This kicks out enough heat supposedly for 300 to 600 square feet. I have about 150 in here. I wanted to go a little bit on the higher side just so that if I have not enough insulation or I'm in extremely cold areas that I'm going to be very comfortable, I can always turn it down. Up here, notice that there are three settings: low, medium, and high. And then over here, this is basically the off and the start mode. And then down here, you have a sparker starter that when you push on this, it will do a little spark up in there, just like your typical propane type stove stuff. Let me show you how you start this thing up. So basically when it's in the off mode, you've got to push down on this thing and you can hear the gas is going. You want to go for about 5 to 10 seconds. So if you've been using it a lot, 5 seconds is enough because there's already propane in the stove. Otherwise it needs to be 10. One of the things I don't really like about this heater is as it's starting up, you've got to hold down on this button, and that flame you just saw, that sort of freaks me out. You get about 2, sometimes 3 of those flames. You want to let this thing go for about 40 seconds, and then you let off, and you turn it all the way over to high. And then in normal mode, you don't see any flames. That's what I love about this. I've slept with this many nights. I feel comfortable sleeping with it next to my bed here. I have it mounted on a wall. This is a wood wall behind here, and the sides of this thing are cool to the touch all the way around. It's this silver area up here that gets hot, and right along the top front edge gets hot. But everything else is cool to the touch, and the wood paneling beside it is cool to the touch. So I feel very, very safe on this. I love that it's a wall mount, and it feels really good. When this is running, you'll see a little bit of an orange glow starting in its bottom corner, and over the period of 45 minutes of an hour, it will slowly creep and crawl along this edge to where it starts filling the bottom 3 or 4 inches of the heater as it's running. It's really interesting because unlike heaters that heat air, like the buddy heater or maybe a furnace in a house, this doesn't heat the air in front of it, not at all. What it feels like is when you're in a high mountain, high altitude area and it's cold outside and you have the sun beating down on you. Right now at this distance that I'm standing from it, it feels like I'm getting a sunburn on my arm and the skin areas. So it's kicking off this radiant heat that is coming in the form of wavelengths, like rays of energy coming out of it, and it heats the object that it hits, that it actually penetrates. Think of like sunlight going and hitting a black surface. That's sort of what's going on here. It's radiating out from the heater in wavelengths across here. There's no hot air coming off of it at all. And the surface that it hits is what's getting heated up. So the way it works is by heating items around it. So I guess if you wanted to kick up the heat level, you just put lots of items in front of it for it to heat up. And I guess that's sort of how it works. It's really an interesting, different way of technology, but what I like is the lack of the flame. It just sort of has a little bit of a glow that you see going on back here. And it's a little bit like a night light at night. There's just this subtle little glow, sort of like embers of a campfire or something like that, except that it's not really a flame per se. I don't know a lot about the technology that makes this thing work. What I do know is that this cloth mat that is in here that is starting to glow has platinum in it, and that the platinum reacts with the propane sort of in a flameless kind of a way. And I don't know the science on this. You guys can write some comments and explain how it all works. But I do know that it's radiating waves of energy that heat the items around it, and I really, really like it. Let me talk a little bit about consumption. When it's on its medium or low setting, which you just turn it down here, I just turned it down to low, it will take about 1/15 of a gallon per hour. So basically you get on a standard propane tank that's like 5 gallon, you can get about 80 hours is what I calculated. So you're getting, I don't know, six to 8 nights or something like that if you turn it on in the evening and keep it till early morning running. I've used it probably 5 nights in a row or so in conjunction with a propane stove that's over here to the side. And then my bottle was down by maybe 3 gallons before I would go refill the bottle. So I've had a really good experience with the stove. I really like it. I would recommend it. It's great because it has the wall mount. They also sell little stands that you can make it to where it sits on a floor. If you want to move it around, you can do that. The Wave 3 can only be mounted one direction. The Wave 6 and Wave 8 you can mount upright or rotate it 90 degrees. I've rotated mine 90 degrees just because I like the orientation here. That's my brief review and my thoughts on the Wave 6 heater here. I recommend it. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. I'll create a link below so you can see all the details, tech specs on this particular heater unit. I understand that you can get them as cheap as $150 if you find them on sale. I ended up buying this from Camping World, paying full retail, so it was a little bit more expensive that way. With the hose and a Y splitter and the heater, I think I was out close to $300. I think I paid $260 or something like that for this. So a little bit on the pricey side, much more than a buddy heater. But this also kicks out a lot more heat and much, much safer in my personal opinion. That's all I have for this episode. Thank you for watching. Savor the moment. See you next episode.